Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Good morning. I'd like to call to order Rules and Operations Committee for May 12th, 2025. The time is 10 a.m. And if the clerk could please call the roll.
Councilmember Denson.
Here.
Councilmember Herrera.
Here.
Councilmember Hitchin.
Here.
You have 3 members present.
With 3 members, we do have a quorum. Thank you all for joining us. We have our regular agenda before us this morning. Are there any changes to our agenda as presented? Seeing none, we will consider them The agenda approved. We also have minutes for May 5th, 2025. Are there any changes, updates to the meeting minutes from May 5th, 2025? Seeing none, we'll consider the minutes for May 5th approved. Thank you, team, for getting those done. I know we've been working to support one of our clerks while they've been out. So we'll turn this over, Ms. Long, to look at our meeting schedule for next week. Ms. Long.
All right, thank you. So this is your meeting schedule for May 19th through the 23rd. On Monday the 19th at 10 a.m., you have your Rules and Operations Committee meeting. You'll be approving the meeting schedule for the week of May 26th through the 30th and the council agenda for May 27th. There's one proposal on that day's agenda, and it is O-2025-511. This is granting a supplemental franchise to Public Utility District Number 1 of Thurston County for the location of water lines, and that has a May 27th final hearing date. At 11 a.m. on Mondays, your regular Monday study session. In addition to your usual agenda items, you have a presentation under other business, and that's the 2026-2027 council priorities. That will be with Mr. Taylor. At 1:30 on Mondays, a Community Development and Environment Committee meeting. There is one proposal and one report. The proposal is O-2025-512. This is adopting the Pierce County Commute Trip Reduction 4-year plan and amending Chapter 1050 of the County Code. This has a June 3rd final hearing date. The report is the Code Enforcement and Public Nuisance Report, and that will be with Planning and Public Works staff. On Tuesday, May 20th, beginning at 9:30, you have a Health and Human Services Committee meeting. There are 3 presentations on this agenda. First up is the Tacoma Pierce County Habitat for Humanity general updates, including updates on acquisition and sale of Pierce County Housing Authority single-family home properties. And that will be with Habitat for Humanity folks. Next is the Family Promise of Pierce County updates on shelter access, hub, and other operations. That will be with Family Promise staff. And then finally you have Tacoma Rescue Mission updates on Good Neighbor Village and shelter expansion. And that will be with Tacoma Rescue Mission. At noon is your regular Tuesday study session, and nothing other than your usual agenda items at this time. And at 3 p.m. is your regular council meeting. As for other meetings, you have Flood Control Zone District Executive Committee meeting on Wednesday, May 21st. And that is the meeting schedule for the week of May 19th through the 23rd.
Thank you very much, Ms. Long, for that. Are there any changes or updates or questions regarding the meeting schedule? Not seeing any. Is the Code Enforcement and Public Nuisance Report, just thinking historically, you've both been here, is that the one where they talk about how many tons and elephants that we've removed? I feel like that's the report. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay. I always enjoy that one. Committee Member Dibson.
Yeah, it is, but as you may know, I've had some concerns with code enforcement for the last couple of years, so I'm also hoping to hear from the department how things have changed, new things, new procedures, anything we can do to help them do their job. So it may lead towards some legislation later in the year. If there's something that we can do to help, it may be things that they can do internally and administratively. They're all working really hard, but we just want to make sure we're protecting our communities, our neighborhoods, and making sure people are following the codes.
Thank you for that. Well, I will entertain a motion on approving the committee or the council meeting agenda. No, the schedule.
Yep.
That one.
So I move to approve the meeting schedule for the week of May 19th through 23rd, 2025.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the meeting schedule for the week of May 19th through the 23rd. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And that brings us to our council agenda for May 20, 2025. Ms. Long.
All right, thank you. This is your regular council meeting agenda for May 20th. We'll start with your consent agenda. You do have a couple of items for introduction, scheduling. The first is an ordinance. It's O-2025-513. This is adopting a new Chapter 240 of the County Code, Community Engagement Financial Support, and directing the Finance Department to provide a report by a date certain You'll be referring this to rules and setting the final council action date for June 10th. The other is a resolution, and that's our 2025-151. This is setting the date of an evening District 2 council meeting for Monday, June 23rd, beginning at 5:30 at the Edward City Hall. And this has a May 27th final hearing date. There's one resolution for final action, and that is our 2025-152. This is confirming the reappointment of one member to the Pierce County Allocation Advisory Committee for Prevention Programs. And that was for final. Moving to section 7, there are 2 proclamations on this agenda. The first is proclaiming Monday, May 26th as honoring our heroes, Pierce County Remembers in Pierce County, Washington. That was requested by council members Herrera, Denson, and Hitchin. The other is a proclamation proclaiming May 18th through the 24th as National Public Works Week in Pierce County, and that was requested by council member Denson. Moving to section 8, resolutions, you have one item here. It's our 2025-150, and this is setting the date of an evening District 7 council meeting for June 2nd, beginning at 5:30 at Hart Church, and that's located on Fox Island. And this is also repealing our 2025-107 to readjust the venue on that. There are no ordinances, and so those are your agenda items for the meeting on May 20th.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Are there any questions on the agenda? So we don't have, do we want to talk about the proclamation thing during study session today to change it for rules, or because we talked about having the proclamations discussed
Right, before approval of the agenda
Yeah.
or the meeting schedule.
so before we do
Maybe
that?
during study session so that everybody
Okay.
is on board and hears the
But
same
for
thing.
today, should we invite Mr. Dominique to come up and talk through the proclamations before we approve
Yeah.
the agenda? Is
Because we
that?
had it in the old order today.
Yeah, which makes sense because we
Yes.
haven't made the decision, but I
Yeah.
do. Okay. So, Mr. Dominique, before we approve the agenda that has these 2 proclamations, let's have you do what you were going to do anyways. We're just going to do it before we vote.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Brian Dominique, your communications manager. On the council agenda for next week, there are 2 proclamations. One is honoring Memorial Day. That is honoring our heroes, Pierce County Remembers. There's been no changes to what was seen by the council on Tuesday's study session. So what we saw last week is what we have today. And then we also have National Public Works Week. I mentioned at Tuesday's study session we'd be taking elements from a code enforcement proclamation that was also requested and incorporated into that. In your packet, the proclamation is there, and those changes are highlighted in gray. There were 2 additional whereases related to code enforcement, and then we added a reference to code enforcement in the actual what is being proclaimed section. So three changes, all related to code enforcement, no changes on the public works side. And pending committee action today on approving the agenda for next week, these proclamations be considered final once that step's taken.
Okay. Committee Member Denson?
Thank you, Chair. You may not have the answer, but do we have people set up to accept both of those proclamations, or do we need to work on that?
For Public Works Week, Public Works will be attending. They're working on who they're going to bring up.
Okay.
They're trying to bring up like people who actually like are out in the field doing the work. So we have some representative of that. I made a comment that the council may enjoy actually seeing folks that are out in the field. And they're also going to bring up like someone to represent the department and their leadership capacity. So they're working on who those guests will be. I'll have a better idea about that next week, or not next week, toward the end of the week. And then for Memorial Day, we haven't lined up any guests yet.
You have. Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'm going to go to Vice Chair Herrera.
Just a little bit more on that, yes. Inviting Gold Star families and just getting a big crew for Memorial Day. But I was out for a week, but appreciate the work you did last week, improving it.
Okay. So sounds like we've got people coming. and we have proclamations. My question, Mr. Dominique, was on the very last, be it proclaimed on the Public Works Week. I feel like it says the same thing twice. So it's the new added highlighted portion where it says what it just said before, and I just didn't understand. So I don't know. Are you tracking what I'm tracking? Where it says Pierce County healthy, safe, and resilient, and then it's Pierce County healthy, safe, and resilient. And it could be intentional to really drive that home, but
I do see what you're commenting on, Madam Chair. We can get that corrected. I think the intention was probably to drive that point home.
Okay,
but it
which
came
is-
out very similar. So we'll
I wonder about just keeping Pierce County healthy, safe, and resilient, and join in recognizing the work and dedication and commitment of these individuals every day, period, or something like that, which just, instead of saying again the same thing twice. So, I mean, if it was in a different part, but it's literally sentence to sentence. So does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
And sorry, I did not email you this over the weekend. I try not to email y'all on the weekend. So, okay. Ms. Long, since we're voting on this, but we have slight changes, should I just look to my colleagues to see, are they comfortable with Mr. Dominique making a few little edits to it, and that works?
Yes, so.
Our sort of rules?
Yes, so the committee can approve next week's agenda with those proclamations as potentially revised.
Okay.
Per the discussion today.
Okay. So I'll look to my colleagues. Is there any concerns about giving Mr. Dominique a little more time to finish that last sentence? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so then I will entertain a motion on the council agenda for May 20th.
Chair, I'm approved the council agenda for May 20th, 2025 with revised wording on proclamations.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the council agenda for May 20th with a note to work on the wording on the last proclamation. Any other conversation? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all. That brings us to other business. Is there any other business before us? That would have been Mr. Dominique, but he's already spoken.
No, nothing more.
Okay, seeing no other business before the committee, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.